You see, the world will often make you believe that when you fall, you've failed, that missing the mark is the end of your story, but let me tell you the truth. Falling is not failing, it's feedback. Falling is a signal, not a sentence. It doesn't mean stop, it means start again, smarter. It means something didn't work that way, not that you don't work. And the moment you shift your mindset from punishment to purpose, you start to see your fall as divine direction, not destruction. When a baby learns to walk, it falls more times than it takes steps, and no one stands over that child and says, "You're a failure." No, we cheer, we clap, we encourage. Why? Because we understand that the fall is part of the process. So how is it that when we grow up, we let the world convince us that one stumble disqualifies us from greatness? One bad decision, one broken relationship, one lost job, and suddenly we disown our potential. But your destiny isn't destroyed by a detour. The fall is feedback. It's the universe's way of shaping you, refining you, and preparing you for what's next. I've learned that feedback is more valuable than praise. Praise may feel good, but feedback builds good. Feedback teaches, it stretches, it molds. It strips away the pride, the ego, the illusion of control, and replaces it with humility and hunger. Hunger to get it right. Hunger to keep going, hunger to rise again, but this time not from the same place, this time from a deeper awareness, because every time you fall, if you listen, really listen, you'll hear a lesson echoing in the pain. That's where wisdom is born, and if you're honest, some of your greatest breakthroughs didn't come in the moments when you had everything together. They came in the dark. They came in the confusion. They came after a fall so hard you thought you'd never stand again. But you did. You got up, maybe slowly, maybe shakily, but you rose, because falling gave you the feedback that what you were doing wasn't working, and rising gave you the chance to do it better. We don't grow in our comfort. We grow in our discomfort. The weight of falling is what teaches you how to carry the strength of rising. If you never fail, you never get strong. If you never break, you never rebuild. If you never fall, you never find out just how much power is buried inside of you. And sometimes God will let you fall, not to hurt you, but to humble you, to quiet the noise around you, so you can finally hear the whisper within you. This is why you must never judge yourself by the fall. Judge yourself by your response, because your response is where your power is. Your response is where your growth begins. Your response is what separates the defeated from the determined. And let me tell you something. The greatest champions you admire didn't win because they never lost. They won because they refused to stay down. They used every fall as feedback, feedback that sharpened their vision, feedback that tested their faith, feedback that purified their purpose. So the next time you fall, and yes, there will be a next time, don't ask, why me? Ask, what is this teaching me? Don't ask, how could I mess up again? Ask, how can I rise wiser this time? Because when you start seeing your fall as feedback, you take back your authority. You reclaim your power. You stop living in the shame of what happened and step into the strength of what's possible. And that, right there, is the beginning of the rise. Pain has a strange way of showing up when you least expect it, uninvited, unwanted, and unannounced. It creeps in through disappointment, betrayal, failure, or loss, and it sits with you like an unrelenting shadow. But what if I told you that pain isn't just a punishment? What if it's preparation? What if pain is the platform where purpose is born? That deep ache in your chest, that moment you thought you'd never recover from, that's not where your story ends. That's where your assignment begins. We all want purpose. We pray for it, chase it, post about it. But rarely do we realize that purpose is expensive. It costs tears. It costs discomfort. It costs the kind of heartbreak that shakes your soul and leaves you wondering, why me? But right there, in that moment, when you feel like the pieces of your life are scattered beyond repair, something is forming. Purpose doesn't come out of ease, it's birthed in the middle of the storm. You don't find your calling when everything's perfect. You find it when nothing makes sense and yet something inside you refuses to stay down. I've seen people walk through fire and come out with a message, not because they were special, but because they allowed the fire to refine them instead of consume them. Pain teaches you things that pleasure never will. It teaches you how to breathe when your chest is tight. It teaches you how to see when your eyes are full of tears. It teaches you how to keep walking when your legs are weak. And in that process, in that pressing, your purpose starts taking shape. You don't just stumble into meaning. You're shaped for it. Every time you ask, "Why did this happen to me?" you miss the better question, "What was it preparing me for?" Some of the greatest world changers, the most powerful voices, the most resilient leaders were born in pain. Not despite it, but because of it. Because pain breaks the illusion that you're in control. It forces you to lean into something deeper, something higher. And when everything around you collapses, it's purpose that becomes your foundation. I know what it's like to feel like the pain is pointless, but I also know what it's like to look back and see how that same pain was the very thing that gave me a voice, gave me compassion, gave me vision. Some of you are carrying scars you never asked for, but those scars carry stories, and those stories carry healing for someone else. Don't bury what broke you, build from it, let it speak, let it serve. Let it show the world that broken doesn't mean finished. It means transformed. We weren't made to escape pain, we were made to endure and rise through it. That's where resilience is birthed. That's where courage is carved out. That's where you meet the real you, the one that doesn't quit, the one that doesn't back down, the one that realizes, if I survived that, I'm still here for a reason. Pain clears the stage for purpose to step forward. And sometimes what feels like the end is actually the stage being set for your beginning. You see, when pain enters your life, it comes with a gift in disguise, the gift of clarity, the gift of authenticity, the gift of inner fire, and if you lean into it, if you allow the process instead of resisting it, you'll rise, not just taller, but truer. Because pain doesn't just build character, it reveals calling. And when you embrace that, you'll understand that the valley was never meant to bury you. It was meant to birth you. Resilience isn't something you're born with, it's something you decide to build. It's not a gift, it's a choice. Every time life knocks you down and you choose to get back up, you're choosing resilience. Not once, not twice, but every single time. See, it's easy to admire resilience in others, to watch someone rise from tragedy and be inspired. But what we often forget is that what we're admiring is not luck or talent. It's a decision they made over and over again when everything in them wanted to quit. Most people wait for strength to show up before they act. But strength doesn't show up until you do. Resilience is born in movement. It's not something that falls on you like rain from the sky. It's forged in the fire of pain, discipline, and choices. That moment when your heart is broken, your spirit crushed, your energy gone, and still you decide, "I'm not done." That is resilience, and that's what separates the ones who rise from the ones who stay fallen. It doesn't take talent to be resilient. It takes truth, the truth that giving up won't heal you, that surrendering to your pain won't save you, that staying down doesn't make the fall easier. It just makes it last longer. So you stand up, not because you feel like it, but because you've decided who you are. You've decided that your story will not end in this chapter. You've decided that even if you're not at your best, even if you're broken, bruised, or battling, you're still going to rise. There's power in making a decision. A solid, grounded, unwavering decision that says, "I may be hurting, but I'm not quitting. I may have lost something, but I haven't lost everything. I still have breath in my lungs. I still have purpose in my bones. And I refuse to let this moment define the rest of my life." That's when resilience becomes a force, not an idea, not a quote on a wall, a force that moves you through pain and turns it into progress. And here's what you need to know. Life doesn't wait for you to feel ready. It won't pause while you catch your breath, so you have to make the decision to move before the feelings come. You don't wait for motivation. You show up, broken and tired if you have to, but you show up anyway. And something shifts, something grows, because resilience is like a muscle. It grows when you push against resistance. The beauty of resilience is not that it makes you perfect, it makes you persistent. It makes you bold in the face of uncertainty. It keeps you walking even when the path ahead is dark. And with every step, even if it's shaky, you're telling life, you can hit me, but I'm not leaving. You can hurt me, but I'm not hiding. I've made a decision to stand, to fight, to grow, and I'm not backing down. And when you live like that, when your resilience becomes your rhythm, your life begins to change, not because everything around you gets easier, but because everything inside you gets stronger. You stop seeing setbacks as dead ends and start seeing them as detours. You stop waiting for the storm to pass and learn how to dance in the rain. Because you've decided that no matter how many times you fall, you will rise one more time than you fall. That's not just resilience. That's identity, that's power, and that's yours, if you choose it. There comes a moment in every life when we begin to question who we really are. Often, that moment doesn't come when everything's going right. It comes in the middle of a fall, when everything feels like it's slipping, when the mirror shows shame instead of strength, when people start labeling you by your mistake rather than your potential. But here's the truth. Your identity is not in your fall. It's in your rise. The world will try to define you by what went wrong. It'll point fingers at your lowest moment and say, that's who you are. But identity was never meant to be shaped by failure. It's meant to be revealed by what you do after the failure. A fall is an event. It's not a person. You are not your mistake. You are not your regret. You are not your past. What you are is the decision you make after the fall. Everybody falls. The strongest people you admire have collapsed under the weight of something they didn't see coming. But they got back up, not because they were perfect, not because they never questioned themselves, but because they knew one truth: what I've done does not cancel who I am. They understood that identity rooted in failure will always produce fear, but identity rooted in truth will birth freedom. And the truth is, you are more than the moment that broke you. If you fall and decide to stay there, then yes, you begin to live out the identity of someone defeated. But the second you rise, shaky, scarred, and struggling, you shift the narrative. You take back the pen, you reclaim the page, you remind yourself and the world, this isn't how my story ends. Your identity is proven not in the fall, but in your ability to rise with purpose, to move forward with vision, and to fight back with faith. The lie many believe is that once you fall, you are no longer qualified. But the truth is, it's often the fall that qualifies you to lead others, to speak life, to carry real wisdom. Because you don't just rise with experience, you rise with empathy. And that empathy allows you to connect, to serve, and to heal others who are now walking where you once fell. That kind of rise is powerful. It's transformational. There is a version of you that only pain can reveal, a depth of you that only the fall can uncover. But you'll never meet that version if you stay down. You've got to rise, not because you have something to prove, but because you have something to live. Your future isn't waiting on perfection. It's waiting on your persistence. It's waiting on you to stop identifying yourself by your wounds and start seeing yourself by your worth. This is why your rise matters. Not just for you, but for everyone watching, because someone is always watching, someone who doesn't believe they can get up, someone who's convinced their last fall is final, and then they see you, and they see that rise. And suddenly, hope is reborn in them. You don't just rise for you. You rise so others know it's possible. You are not what happened to you. You are what you choose to become after it. And once you truly believe that, shame loses its grip. Guilt loses its voice, and the past loses its power to dictate your identity. The rise becomes your anthem. Your comeback becomes your character. And your story becomes a declaration that no matter how far you fall, identity is not found in your breaking, but in your becoming. Every time you rise, something deep inside you shifts. It may not be loud. It may not be visible, but something grows, something strengthens, and over time, every small decision to stand back up begins to add value not to your wallet, not to your status, but to your soul. You see, each rise adds compound value to your character. Just like money compounds when it sits and grows, your resilience, your consistency, your integrity, they compound too. They start to multiply in the places people can't see, but where everything truly begins. You don't become stronger all at once. You don't develop grit overnight. It happens in the repetition, in the decision to keep moving again and again when you're tired, when you're scared, when the odds are stacked against you. Those rises might feel small in the moment, almost invisible, but they are stacking something powerful within you. And when the next storm comes, you won't crumble like you used to. Not because life got easier, but because you got deeper. Character is not built on mountaintops. It's built in valleys. It's built in the silence, in the moments no one is clapping for you, when you feel like the only one in the fight. But you keep showing up. You keep choosing to get up. You keep choosing hope over fear, effort over excuses, and all that choosing, it's compounding, building you into a version of yourself that can carry more, love deeper, endure longer. We often underestimate the value of small wins. The day you woke up and didn't quit, the moment you forgave someone who didn't apologize, the time you faced something that scared you but didn't run, those moments matter. They may not make headlines, but they make history, your personal history. They become the quiet strength that will carry you through the next chapter. And that's the power of compound character. It's not loud, but it's lasting. People will look at you one day and wonder how you became so strong. They'll assume it happened in a single moment, a single breakthrough, but you'll know. It wasn't one rise, it was 100. It wasn't one choice, it was dozens. And every rise you made, when you were tired, when you were heartbroken, when you were uncertain, those are the ones that built the strongest parts of you. That's when your faith grew roots. That's when your vision got clear. That's when your voice gained weight. Just like compound interest makes your money work harder for you over time, your rises make your character more stable over time. You become unshakable not because life doesn't shake you, but because you've learned how to stand anyway. You've trained your spirit. You've proven to yourself that you can handle more than you thought, and the more you handle, the more you can carry. You rise once, you gain strength. You rise again, you gain wisdom. You rise again, and suddenly you're not just rising for yourself. You're rising to lift others, because the value you're building doesn't stop with you. It overflows. It touches your family, your community, your future. The strength you gain in silence becomes someone else's anchor when they're drowning. The peace you fought for becomes someone else's permission to begin their own healing. That's the ripple effect of compound character. So don't overlook the rises that feel small. Don't underestimate the days that feel ordinary. It's in those hidden places that legacy is built. And one day you'll look back and realize that every time you got back up, you were building something bigger than a comeback. You were building a life of unshakable value, a life that speaks louder than any fall ever could. The beautiful thing about being broken isn't just that you can rise again. It's that in your rising, you become a light for someone else. We live in a world full of people silently battling pain, carrying guilt, and trying to make sense of the broken pieces in their lives. And while everyone's story looks different, there's one thing we all long for: hope. Not the kind that comes in perfect packages, but the kind that's born in scars. The kind that says, if I made it through, maybe you can too. See, your brokenness is not a barrier, it's a bridge. A bridge that connects your heart to someone else's struggle. A bridge that tells a story more powerful than perfection ever could. Because people don't connect with flawless, they connect with real. They connect with honesty, with pain, with triumph that came through tears, not shortcuts. And when you share that journey, not from a place of pride, but from a place of purpose, it changes things. It heals. It empowers, it liberates. Your healing is not just for you. Your rise is not just for your own applause. It's for every person watching, wondering if they'll ever get up again. Your life becomes evidence. Proof that even broken crayons still color, that even shattered pieces, when held with intention, can become part of something beautiful. There is no greater legacy than a life that reminds others they are not alone in their fight. Sometimes we think we have to be fully healed before we can help others, but the truth is, you just need to be honest. Your progress, not your perfection, is what speaks the loudest. When you open up and say, "This is where I fell, and this is how I got back up," you become someone's turning point. Someone who is close to quitting, close to disappearing into silence, finds their way back because you were brave enough to show your scars. And it's not always about standing on stages or posting your story online. Sometimes your rise is the quiet strength that inspires your child, your friend, your neighbor. Sometimes it's the way you keep showing up with love after life has broken your heart. Sometimes it's the way you speak peace in a chaotic world because you've been through chaos and chose not to let it shape you. That's influence. That's leadership. That's impact. You don't need a perfect voice to be heard. You don't need a polished life to speak truth. All you need is a heart that's willing to share, a soul that's decided not to waste the pain. Because when you start using your journey to help someone else navigate theirs, you begin to live with a purpose far bigger than survival. You begin to thrive, to lead, to change atmospheres just by being who you are, fully, fearlessly, and freely. The light at the end of the tunnel isn't just for you to enjoy. It's for you to go back and shine for the ones still stuck in the dark. You become a lighthouse, not because you've never faced a storm, but because you've stood in the storm and refused to go out. And in doing so, you help others find their way home. So rise, and when you do, don't forget to reach back. Don't forget the power of your journey. Don't forget that the most broken places often birth the most powerful voices. The world doesn't need more perfect people. It needs more real ones. People who can say, "Yes, I was broken, but I didn't stop there. I chose to rise, and in doing so, I became a reason for someone else to believe again."